Hi guys, I wanted to give you a rundown of your lab tonight. Um, Everything you need is here. If you're not super comfortable with Google Docs and you wanted to download this as Word, you would just go to File, Download as Word. I don't care how you do it. You will need to upload or to put some screenshots into here. So as long as you're comfortable doing it in Word, that's fine too. So, first thing you're going to do is open up your Stellarium. And remember, you should have already had an account. Make sure you're logged in. The other thing to take note of right here in my directions is to make sure that you've changed all of your text to red. You can do that by clicking up here on your text color, which will give you your color palette, and you'll just select red. So I'm going to open up Stellarium. Please ignore all of my millions of windows open. Okay, so there is my Stellarium. I want this side thing to go away, so I'm going to click that. The other night, actually, I think it was our first class, you guys had the chance to kind of play around with this here. So tonight is the lab where you are going to be using this. So first thing here in your general observations, these are just that. These are general observations. So there is no shortcutting this. You have to actually think through the process. And this is to familiarize yourselves with the platform. Please also make sure that in your settings, you have this box selected right here. You have all of these things selected. And I gave that to you. It's in the document. So notice that there are some lines that separate your night sky into these imaginary boundaries or like sections. One of these is red, and that is called the ecliptic. So you're going to kind of use that once you have those settings checked. And I don't have those settings checked, so I'm going to go back here. See, okay, gosh, I need to have all of these things selected. There we go. Settings. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we want the ecliptic line and we want the meridian. Okay, so I've got these things right here. I've got the meridian. You can see the parts of the sky that these things bisect. And notice the directions that they are towards. If you get it turned around and you have a hard time like getting it back, you can always click on, I think it's here. Oh, that tells me where I am. You can reset. You may just have to like go up here and reset it. Please make sure you're using the web version though. Okay. And then again, I'm going to go into my settings and click these guys. Okay, so right now it says that I am looking north. Remember that I said that you are going to be making just some general observations so I can see a few things that are out. Maybe you want to notate where things are in relation to each other, the different objects and how they look. Maybe you want to scroll in and zoom in on some things, but there's no limit to what you can do there. But these are, like I said, general observations. The only thing you're looking up is the definition of the ecliptic and rewriting that in 5 of your own words. So then thinking about the locations of all of the planets that you see in relation to that. And again, pretty self-explanatory. Cardinal directions, that means north, south, east, west. That's what that is. Okay, so as you go through this, there really is no shortcut for the process. You need to think through each of these things. So first you have your general, and you're describing some of these objects that I've given you here. Then for part 2, you're locating specific components that are on this sphere. So we can think about the sky as being a sphere. Obviously, we know that it's not a sphere, but it's a little easier to conceptualize, and we can actually see that if we zoom out like this. It actually looks like a sphere. And because as time passes, we see things moving overhead. And you guys would have seen this last class I had you guys like play with the timer and move it. It's easy to imagine how ancient peoples looked at the passage of time and things moving overhead, and it just assumed that everything moved around us. But we've been able to kind of keep that model as just a visualization to be able to identify coordinates and locations. So obviously the sky is not a sphere, but we use this concept of a celestial sphere to identify locations, direction, and motion. So I'm going to have you guys do a few exercises here and some things that I've identified, changing and rotating your mouse, dragging the cursor, and identifying some things that are at each horizon here. So be careful if you click and drag too much, you may get a real funky view. We don't want Earth at the center, but you can get it like this. That may actually help you a little bit. So whatever helps you more. For that section. So here I'm kind of guiding you through to identify some components. So next you're going to be selecting some things here, the constellations from the bottom view in the azimuthal grid, looking at some constellations. The thing that students tend to have the most difficulty with is right here with the handy measurement tool. So we can think about this in terms of like pre-technological peoples prior to the telescope, when the only measurement tool they had was their fingers and the only observational tool they had was their eyes. So if you hold your fingers up to the sky, the portion of sky that each finger takes up, that tells you how many degrees of sky it represents. So you can see that your pinky is 1 degree. For perspective, both the sun and the moon take up a half a degree in the sky. If you don't believe me, hold your thumb up at arm's length and it will block out the moon, because your thumb is about a degree and the moon is half of that. So we want to try and put that into practice, and you can try this on your own. But then I want you to think about translating that here. So again, we're putting on our constellations, we're putting on our azimuthal grid, and you can see that that creates all of these red lines. It may be easier for you if you go back and you delete this line, which is the meridian line, which is in your settings. So I'm going to do that right here. So the next thing I'm wanting you to do is to take a look at what do each of these lines represent. And you can do that by kind of zooming in and trying to find where the numbers are. If you wanted to turn the constellations off for a minute and just to make it a little easier, that's fine. But you want to try and zoom around, and if you get it at just the right number, so there we can see the labeling of the ecliptic, and we can see that over in the side, I've got some numbers. Those numbers represent these lines, the horizontal lines. So this is plus 10, this is plus 20, up there is plus 30. Now, if I wanted to see the other lines, I have to go up a little higher. You can kind of see this below right there. So these are the numbers. And if I zoom out, I might even be able to see those a little better. So it's like right up above. But those are the lines. So you have to kind of really take a look at the lines, and okay, so there we go. So that one is 30 degrees. So they're right on the edges. You can see that one is 20 degrees up and 45 degrees over. So you have to just zoom in to where you can actually see the numbers, but they are at the edges of the screen, if you can see my cursor there. So from that, we're thinking about approximating some locations of some objects. So trying to figure out how far apart each of the grid lines are, and then using that to come up with some coordinate systems. Then we're taking a look at Polaris, and we're defining some new terms. Just like previously, you defined some locations and some objects. And the final part has to do with making some actual observations. So assuming that you are logged in, you can observe in the top right corner. So we go right here. And these are some of the things that I have taken a picture of. I showed you these the first week. You can select your calendar. Select the full moon, because we can use that calendar to not just take images of objects right now, but we can actually transfer it forward. So I can go through and see what it is I want. So if I want new moon, if I want first quarter moon, full moon, that's what I want. So it'll fast forward and show me when that's going to be. And I asked you to include a screenshot of this entire sky view, including the skyline. So what that would mean is I would have to go down here. I can zoom out a little. And if you have a touch screen, that makes things a bit easier. And with the perspective, with that view, notice it's sitting above the ecliptic line, and it's sitting Here I have these coordinate lines, which I'm not going to define because that's part of your lab. But here I can have a decent perspective of where that is in the sky. I can see the cardinal direction that it's over, and I can see that general location. I can see some other things that it's close to. But the big thing is getting that skyline so I have perspective. So I can see it's way up here, as opposed to maybe another time in the month it's way down here. That's what I want you to look for, is using this grid system as a basis of orienting yourself in the sky. So here, what portion of the sky? I just really showed you that. The next is looking at the first quarter, last quarter, and new. I just showed you how to do that. So here again, we'd take a screenshot with that skyline, including any other visible objects, and telling me the date. Here we're going to describe in two differences, some of those locations. Then finally, you are going to choose some objects and select screenshots of them and put those in. So for example, my observations here, I chose M33. So I would just snap a screenshot of that and I would put that in. There are 3 objects I told you to do that with. And then finally is your analysis. So make sure that you are taking your time with this. If you skip the analysis, I only give half credit. This is what ties it all together and really demonstrates what you've learned and shows me what you've learned. This will take you a couple of hours. You can absolutely finish this in class time, especially if you work together, because more brains are better than one. But take your time with this. Don't shortchange the analysis. There's no point in going through and doing a learning activity if you can't demonstrate that. And this is really the culmination of that experience. So make sure you are identifying and explaining 2 new concepts, and then finding 3 things that would be out tonight. And here telling me, I know how to find this, because that's important. This is really tying together everything you've done. How do you know the region of sky? How would you know how to find this? What are some distinguishing factors that you could tell someone where to look in the sky? A couple ways that you've learned from this. All right, that is it. I will see you guys in class.